Why the Philadelphia 76ers shouldn't trash talk the Golden State Warriors. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors faced off against the Philadelphia 76ers and the Warriors won 120 to 112. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 reasons why the Warriors were able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers and how this is going to help them in the playoffs and win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. So the first is Jordan Poole was absolutely on fire. As you all know, Jordan Poole had himself a fantastic game where he dropped 33 points, was also 6 from 11 from the 3, and also went 10 from 19 from the field. So he did a fantastic job really providing the scoring early on. Klay Thompson struggled a little bit in this game, but Jordan Poole made up for it, especially for that second unit. And we've said this time and time again, this is definitely the type of Jordan Poole we want to see from this team. Now, when we look at the bench for the 76ers, they actually had an accumulative points of around 10 points. So they barely even scored when it came to the second unit. It was pretty much Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Tyrese Maxey from the starters. So when it came to the second unit, none of them basically scored, and Jordan Poole literally 3 times their points altogether. So that's why I think Jordan Poole coming off the bench has been so effective for him. Not only is he just not dealing with the starters, but he's versing a lot of players, especially in the second unit, that he's able to take advantage of, especially with their lackluster defense. Jordan Poole, when it comes to offense, can definitely be a starter role, and he's taking advantage of that for the second unit, which I think is fantastic. Now, when it came to Jordan Poole's game as a whole, I think he was really doing a lot of great things out there. Not only that, but he was playmaking when the opportunities were there. He had himself 3 assists and also 3 rebounds, which was fantastic to see. Now, you don't expect too much from a point guard or shooting guard of Jordan Poole, especially with him, coming off the bench, but he did get stats where it's needed, and points is definitely where it was needed for this game. I think it was really great to have him in this matchup because due to him, they definitely won this game because of Jordan Poole. Curry had himself a game. Klay Thompson had himself a pretty good game at 20 points, but I really do believe that Jordan Poole really provided that energy that was needed, especially when it wasn't looking too good for the 76ers. There were a couple of times where 76ers were on a little bit of a run, and it really did get Golden State Warriors flustered, and that's where Jordan Poole really implemented what he does best, which is score and provide that energy, and you can definitely see it start to rub off on his teammates. He even had moments where he was playing with the starters quite a lot. DiVincenzo actually dropped to 19 minutes in this matchup, and Jordan Poole increased to 32 minutes in this matchup. So we actually saw Poole actually end the game very, very well and really strong. Now, when it comes to what he can do offensively, I think he did do a fantastic job as well defensively. A lot of people think Jordan Poole is a liability on defense, and yes, that is somewhat true, but I think tonight he did a fantastic job at not letting his man score at times. He wasn't having any turnovers of that nature. He only had 1 turnover in this matchup, and this is the type of game we want to see from Jordan Poole. He's playing like a max contract player in this matchup, and especially against a big team like the 76ers, who are pretty much one of the best defensive teams out there. So the fact that Jordan Poole can do this against this matchup, it definitely shows he can be ready for the playoffs and especially championship times and in those big moments. The second is that Steph Curry came in the clutch. Now, as you all know, Stephen Curry had himself a little bit of a slow start. He didn't come out the way he always does when it comes to games. Usually in the first quarter, he's able to get 10-15 points already off the rip, but in this matchup, it was a little bit slower, and it got a lot of Warriors fans a little bit scared, but he was able to pull it off at the end. It did just look like the Golden State Warriors were a little bit slower due to the fact that Philadelphia likes to play slow basketball, and they were very focused on trying to prevent Stephen Curry to score. But the way that Steph Curry did get around it, he was able to drop 29 points in this matchup. He went 10 from 18 from the field and also went 2 from 7 from the 3. So not the greatest shooting night from the 3. However, he still got it done and was able to drop 29 points. He also did grab 8 rebounds, which was honestly fantastic, guys. Philadelphia is a very big team. They got Joel Embiid, they got Tobias Harris, they got players off the bench that are very, very big. And I do think Stephen Curry really does show that he can rebound with some of the best of them. And I think it's fantastic in that stat. But when it came to his scoring, it's definitely something that is needed from someone like Steph, especially in the closing minutes. And he was definitely able to do that. You definitely saw signs where, when it was in those closing moments, Steph Curry had to step up and he was able to do that. And I think that's what you definitely need from someone who is your leader for this team. So Stephen Curry hasn't seemed to be slow slowing down anytime soon. A lot of people think that this may be his last year as his peak, but I'm telling you, he is just getting started and only getting better as time goes on. So it's starting to look more, even though Curry is coming back from an injury, that he's kind of 100% there. I think that's what we definitely want from Golden State Warriors, especially when it comes to closer to the playoff time. As you all probably know, the playoff race is super close. Golden State Warriors is one of those teams that are in this bracket where if they take 2 or 3 losses in a row, they could honestly be out of the playoffs and even out of the play-in. So it is a very tight race with the Western Conference, and that's why Golden State Warriors definitely needed this win. I think Steph Curry did a fantastic job to carry his team over this hump and win 120-112. It was very, very close, but Golden State Warriors were able to close it out in the end. I think it was definitely off the back of Stephen Curry leading the way. He did a great job also on defense. A lot of people think that Steph Curry is not a great defender, and yes, that may be somewhat true, but I think Steph Curry wasn't a liability on defense in this game. I think that's very good to see. He was guarding the likes of Melton and also Tyrese Maxey, who are some very great offensive players. Tyrese Maxey is having a breakout season for himself, and with James Harden out, he definitely had the ball a more younger player that's able to score. So I do think he did a fantastic job when he was in switch situations, playing defense and just being able to be that leader that this Golden State Warriors team needs. The third is Draymond Green almost got himself a triple-double. Now, as you all know, Draymond is probably the most underrated player in this Golden State Warriors roster, and he had himself a game with 10 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds, and he also shot 5 from 11 from the field. So he did a fantastic job in this matchup, and he also had the assignment of marking Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid did have 46 points. Yes, I do agree. However, guys, you do have to remember, Draymond Green is only 6'6". Joel Embiid is 7 foot, pretty much 7'1". He is built like a tank, so there's really not much Draymond can do. I really don't blame him, but he still did a fantastic job at causing a lot of problems, not only for just Joel Embiid, but also for Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey if they ever came in the paint. So he was doing a lot on defense that really does go unrecognized and something that really doesn't show up in the stat sheet. And yes, Joel Embiid did have himself 46 points like I mentioned, but I still do think Draymond Green did the best defense he could, and it definitely was enough because Golden State Warriors were able to get that win. Now, when it comes to his points, it's great to see Draymond scoring again, okay? A lot of people only really see him score once in a blue moon, but now he's taking a lot more shots. He actually had the 3rd most shots out of all the starters. He took 11 shots, and Curry was first with 18 and also Clay with 17. So out of the starters, he was actually 3rd, which was fantastic to see him shoot a lot more. Now, when it also came to this matchup, Draymond Green had a lot of assists. He had 10 assists, but when it comes to what he was really providing playmaking wise, it was honestly fantastic to see. Early on in the first quarter and also in the second, you saw a lot of back cuts from players like Steph and Klay Thompson, where Philadelphia were so focused on them and not letting them shoot the 3 that they would make a quick back cut, they would be open, and Draymond Green was able to make the pass every single time. And that's a lot of ways that Steph Curry was actually able to get his points up. Even Klay Thompson as well. It was a lot of back cutting going on. They didn't really shoot too many threes as usual, and that may have been the reason why. Philadelphia, they do love to play that pressurized defense, and they were able to take advantage of it because they have a playmaker like Draymond in their team. So Draymond did a fantastic job. His passing was honestly very, very pristine, very to the point, and you can also see Curry getting a lot of points from that, also Clay and even Jordan Poole. So he did a fantastic job, and I think all around when it came to his game, I think he does something, the intangibles that no one really notices, but he did a great job at doing those little things. But I think Draymond really does need a lot more when it comes to him help on defense. There was a lot of times where Draymond was just guarding Joel Embiid by himself. I do think Kevon Looney needs to help at times due to the fact that Draymond is only 6'6". Joel Embiid is 7 foot, guys. That is a huge mismatch for anyone. You know, you can't really tell me any 6'6" could guard a 7'1" of Joel Embiid's stature. So I do think there is a lot of things that Kevon Looney and Draymond Green can work together due to the fact that Draymond is a little bit undersized. But overall, the win is a win. Draymond did his part. I think that's something that goes unrecognized, but I think, guys, we have to recognize it today as Warriors fans. The fourth is Golden State Warriors 3-point shooting. Now, as you all know, Golden State Warriors are a 3-point team. They have the greatest shooter ever alive, and they also have the second greatest shooter alive in Klay Thompson. So they got a lot of great shooters, and it definitely showed up in the stat sheet. If we look at the stats, 76ers actually shot 8 from 29 from the 3-point line, okay? And this is without James Harden, and that could have been one of the reasons why we saw a huge dip, but they only shot 27.6% from the 3, so not very good. However, on the other side, we see Golden State Warriors who shot 18 from 50 and shot 36% from the 3-point line. Guys, that is honestly insane. The league average is around 32. So the fact that they were able to shoot as a team 36, I think was honestly fantastic to see. Now, when it comes to Golden State Warriors, they live and cry by the 3, as they say it, but I do think it was fantastic to see them be able to hit a lot of shots together. Now, when it came to who was the main culprit for the 3-point shooting, it was actually Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson. Now, Steph Curry actually went 2 from 7. Draymond Green went 0 from 5, which is great to see that Draymond is shooting that shot, but unfortunately he didn't do so well. We had JaMychal Green, who also went 2 from 3, and then we also had Jordan Poole, who went 6 from 11. So Jordan Poole actually had the highest percentage in 3-point shooting out of the whole team, and he did a fantastic job tying with Klay Thompson for 6 threes each. So they did a fantastic job. There was also a couple of threes here and there, you know, some from Moses Moody, some from Anthony Lamb and Jonathan Kuminga. So it was great to see them work as a team to get those threes. But when it comes to Golden State Warriors as a 3-point shooting team, if they keep this up at this rate, I definitely see them making the playoffs and winning another championship. The 5th was JaMychal Green, played great off the bench. Now, JaMychal Green has gone under the radar once again because in this matchup, he had himself 12 points, 6 rebounds, and also went 4 from 5 from the field. So guys, he shot 80% from the field while also taking 2 out of 3 from the 3-point line. So he did a fantastic job all around, shooting very high efficiency, and was able to grab boards for this team. And I think that's something that is so big, especially for JaMychal Green coming off the bench, and due to his partake in rebounds and also points, that they were actually able to go over rebounds against the 76ers. 76ers only got 38 rebounds while the Warriors were able to get 48. And so I do think when it comes to JaMychal Green and also these other role players, they are doing a fantastic job and a great job at being able to adapt with the minutes that they get. And I do think JaMychal Green is definitely going to be needed in playoff and championship time, and it's just fantastic to see him start find his groove with this team and also with his role in this roster.